Well, good morning. We're here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, at Sunpoke Fireplace stoves and different applications that they have. Anyway, we're going to install the stone on this fireplace here. It's going to be multicolor granite river rock. And as you can see there, Mark is putting it on. Now, there's a lot of preparation work for this. Now, the first thing that we have to do, which we don't really show it in this video, is putting on the weld bond. It's a kind of a glue that the masonaries use. You know, there's a host of different words for it. But anyway, that's what we put on first, over top of the cement board. And then after that, we put on a grout, which we call as a scratch coat. And that's just a thin coating over top. And that has to be done right immediately after we put on the weld bond. And then, of course, you put the stone on, and they're all sort of hand-picked. And being that you lay the stone for a while, you get an eye for it, and you'll be able to place stone where they're needed and pick up the right size rather than the wrong size, and so on and so forth. And that's basically how we do it. Now, in this situation right here, I've already laid the stone up the wall in that corner. Now I'm getting right ready to grout it in. And that's another little thing that we do. We use a grout bag, which is very much the same as the cake decorator, so you can get the idea where the cake decorators got the idea from, if you know what I mean. Anyway, and that fills the joints right in very, very nicely. And we can do it in such a way with practice that we don't get stone on the mortar, or on the stone, get mortar on the stone. There, get myself correct here. So it's a bit of a slow procedure, and we're going to kind of move you ahead here because there's not a lot to be, you know, a lot to be learned about putting it in this, and it's very difficult to learn somebody just by showing them. You have to actually get right down and do it. So that mortar is squeezed right in tight, right into the joints, as you can see, and there's an awful lot of caution involved in keeping the mortar off of the stone, because you got to realize the mortar is awful wet and messy. But if you're careful, you can keep it from getting it on the stone. And we won't touch that mortar at all. You dare not touch it right now. And then when it gets dried up a little bit to about the consistency of fudge, we will start jointing it. Anyway, we're going to move you ahead here a few minutes to where we start joining. Okay, we're ready to start jointing. Now, excuse me, we get down in here and start scraping off the mortar. Well, actually, we don't scrape it off. Actually, you cut in between it and it'll fall off. It won't stick to the stone at this point in time, so it's just at the right stage. It has to be at a critical stage before it gets too hard and after it's not soft anymore. And we'll pack that mortar right into the joints, and every single joint is gone over and packed in. It's not just scraped off, it's packed in. And then as you go along, there, as you see, each and every stone flakes right off very nicely. And this is something that you learn over time, just exactly how to do it. And we'll stop, after a bit and give it some time, and then it'll set up again, set up a little harder. Okay, when it does set up again, I will go back over it and take the trowel back, and the next session is to get rid of the trowel tracks that I've made on the first pass. So that'll happen once once it sets up. It takes some time, and and we just keep testing it as we go along, and then we know exactly when it is. And once I get done that, then comes the next stage. Okay, now we're on pretty much the last stage right here. We're brushing it. Now we've already gone through second or third stage, the stage where we took and erased all our trowel tracks. And now it is set up fairly well so that I can basically brush the bits of sand off and one thing another and do the final touches. And that's basically what we're doing. And go over every stone, as you can see, and brush them all out, clean everything off. And that's generally it. But, no matter what you do and how careful you are, if you've got a real good eye, you can find a little pit hole somewhere that got missed with a bit of mortar somehow, some way, shape, or form. So, anyway, it's a good idea for you when you're having a fireplace done. At this point in time, take a little look around, or a darn good look around, and if you see anything, point it out, because it just takes a dab of mortar and a little brush, fixed up. Anyway, that's about all there is. Well, that is about all there is to it. There's quite a lot to it. Anyway, we got to go around the other side and see how Mark's doing. Now, he's over there on the other side of it, and he's doing quarry stone, which is another type of stone that we have, which is basically jagged cut corners and stuff like that. Well, it's not jagged cut corners, it's more squarish, natural squarish. And anyway, it's multicolor quarry stone that he's doing on the other side here. I'll show you here in a few minutes. Okay, here we are, all done, presto. Anyway, we'll go take a walk around here and take a look at it. Now, as you can see, we've taken all the tape off of the fireplace and exposed it. So you can see how that's done. And so now you'll notice that the mortar is kind of a dark color. Well, it'll lighten up and become almost white. Now, in some places there you can see where some parts are dark and some places are lighter. Well, that's because different days at different time frame involved in putting the joints on. But, or putting the mortar in rather, and joint and finishing it, and so on and so forth. Now here's Mark doing the final touches on the quarry stone. And it is a multicolored quarry stone, as you can see. And you got blue limestone in there. You've got some slightly red granite. You've got some brown stone that we call canoe stone. We've got earth tones in there, different things in that stone. I like it. I like that better than I do the river rock. But Cutriverock does a lot of different stones. So anyway, Cutriverock does the quarry stone, and it does the multicolor granite, multicolor river rock. We have a gray river rock too that we do supply, and at this time we're finishing up, and there's a kind of a view of the beautiful array of different stoves and one thing and another that the Sunpoke offer. So anyway, if you happen to go in there, right where Mark is working, you're going to see a bunch of stoves sitting right on that shelf that we made. On that bench, that's going to have 3 different stoves on it. So, I hope I've given you a good overview on one thing or another of laying stone and the river rock, especially. Didn't give you too much of a view of laying the quarry stone, but it's very similar to the same thing. Anyway, have a good day, and we hope to see you on your fireplace.